Ex-Muslim, the term you might be familiar with because it's not a new term. It's in vogue since last few decades, especially after 2007. We are hearing this term, ex-Muslim. So a lot of controversies are there, especially in Kerala when we say about these ex-Muslims. It's like these people always think in a different way that being a Muslim, you have to obey a lot of things, and there's a definition for being a Muslim. And the primary definition of this being a Muslim is that you are obeying the kalima, or the shahada we call it. So apart from that, you have to obey all these rules that is mentioned in this religion. So when you say that you are an ex-Muslim, that is actually not a counter religion or a counter ideology. It's not something which is opposing to that in a way that we are putting forward something new as an ideology. It's just like an opposition to whatever things Islam is imposing upon its individuals, like the rules and regulations which are imposed upon the family lives, the personal life, and in the social aspects of the people. So when we come out of the religion, by knowing or by realizing the futility and the inhuman nature and the anti-human rules and regulations and the misogyny and many other things which is included in this Islam, if somebody chooses to come out of this religion, then comes another rule which is imposed. That is, if ever someone renounces this religion and comes out of it, he has to be punished. Okay, and the punishment is to be killed. So killing the apostate is the sole punishment which is mentioned as per the scriptures in Quran, in Islam. So we need to oppose everything, including our defending our rights. Okay, like the basic right to live. That's what we are doing. So as long as the rules and regulations of Islam is imposed upon us, there's a viability, or there's a need for us to say that we are not among you, and we are opposing your rules, and we need to form a group, and we need to show that this is something normal. So that was the reason why we decided to form an organization like this, in line with the organizations which we have seen outside the country, like in USA, in UK, and in many other parts of the world, especially in Europe. We see like the organizations like this. So that's the sole reason to present ourselves as the opposition to Islam. And one thing which I would say is that this is not an organization or a faction of people which is going to exist here for time immemorial. It's not going to be like that. It's only going to exist as long as Islam and its problems are prevalent. Once Islam goes into memory, or when Islam transforms itself into a religion, just like the other religions, where they are no more imposing its rule on its people, even ex-Muslims organizations too will be going to memory. So just like that, you are representing the atheists of Bangalore, right? So why not atheists of Karnataka? Why not you are not saying that? Because you cannot find people in Karnataka who are atheists. So you are trying to find some common-minded people from Bangalore first, then from Mangalore, then from Mysore, then from other cities in Karnataka, and finally you will form this atheists of Karnataka, right? It's quite natural that one gets such a doubt whether we are dividing people in the name of the language or in the name of the locations, the states. But actually what's happening is, what I have understood is that, there's a great difference in the understanding and in the way people live and the way that people are brought about in our country. I would say that the basic difference among Indians, that is the diversity that we are seeing. Okay, so we always say that India is a federal system. So when we say it is a federal system, that means there is vast differences between the people of different parts of the country. The Kerala people are different, the Tamilians are different, the UP people are different, the Gujaratis are different. So you go wherever, the situations prevailing in all those states are different. In the West, you can see that people, when they criticize Islam, they are getting the opposition from the people of or these Islamists that you are creating Islamophobia. Okay, that's one of the main allegations against these the critics of Islam. But when we come to India, that's not selling in here anymore, because Islamophobia is not sold here, because that has changed in a better manner, especially in Kerala. If you look back in the past to the past 1 or 2 years, you can see that Islamophobia is not, it's not taken anywhere, because we were engaged in criticism of Islam and not Muslims. Okay, so we were actually creating Islamophobia, and we agreed to that. We are creating Islamophobia. We are not creating, we are exposing the phobia, which is inherent in Islam. But we are also telling that it's the Islam that should be feared of. It's not the Muslims that should be feared of. Okay, so we are making a clarification there, especially when the right-wing politics in our country, they try to say that Muslims are the problem. So we are making a clarification there, and that is getting accepted slowly. So that's one aspect of doing things here. But when you go outside Kerala and you say all these things, you might feel a lot of difference. Like that's not the situation in Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, we saw recently that one person called Anish got arrested just for posting something for saying something on social media. You might have known that. So what he did, he was commenting on a recent news item that was a new a godly woman was coming into their town and saying that she's getting some revelations and she is something divine divine power has reached her. So she was telling like that. So this Anish just made a comparison between this woman who did this in the 21st century and the Prophet, the Muhammad, who did the same thing in the 6th century. So he was drawing a comparison between both these. And for that, he was taken in. He was detained for more than a week, and we were campaigning against that. And later on he came out, but still he's under the police interrogations and many things. The court cases are going on. But you know, the same things happened in Kerala almost a month ago. We were also saying the same thing. We were also drawing these comparisons. We were also doing all these things, but nobody got arrested here. I was doing this. Many of my friends were doing it, but nobody got arrested. Why that's not happening? Because the situation in Kerala is different from the situation in Tamil Nadu. So we are respecting this federal structure, which is basically or fundamentally, which is aimed for the political management of our country. But we are using the same structure for even forming or for orienting the activism as well, because that should be in that way, because we cannot generalize the problem. Yeah, I'm not saying that I'm against ex-Muslims of India. Okay. Actually, what we are aiming is for ex-Muslims of the world. That's our aim. But to reach there, we have to start from our locality. That's what I'm saying. So through strengthening the federal structure or the local factions, then only we can go and reach the larger picture. Usually, all these things are done in our local language, because the people need to understand more. For example, if we need to say something, and if we are doing it in English or in Malay, in any other language, if we are doing it in Hindi, we cannot do it first of all, because we are not well versed in Hindi, so we cannot do it. So what we can do is we can use the mother tongue, that is Malayalam, and that is reaching more people. So that's how we engage with the local people, and we make them aware of all these things, and that's how we tackle this Islamophobia calling and labeling and all such things. So that's working. So the next step would be strengthening an all India organization, which is already existent. That is, the ex-Muslims of India organization is there already. So we are trying to make it in a bigger manner, like we need to bring in more people from every state, we need to represent every state, and we need to make it bigger. So that's already in line. And apart from that, we have already created another platform called non-religious citizens, and it's not just for the ex-Muslims, it's for all other ex-religious peoples from any other religion, like ex-Hindus or ex-Christians or even ex-Jews we can include. So that's not an issue. We have already created, and that's the platform, or that's the organization which was formed even before the ex-Muslims of Kerala. NRC is non-religious citizens, and it's a platform for all the people who are coming out of this religion, and they are. We need to unite them to make us heard to the governments, so that there are some people who are living here without religion. So right now, what we are seeing is that all our politics is completely engaged, or it's in a always trying to be in a relationship with this religion, appeasing the religion, and trying to make decisions or taking decisions by the approval of the religious institutions. That's how the politics is running right now in our country. So we need to end that. So for that, the governments or the politicians right now, they should feel that there is a changing movement going on, where there are people coming out of religion, and there is no point in carrying forward all these religious appeasement policies that they were doing it for the past many decades. So there's no point in doing it or continuing it further. So they have to change. So actually what we are doing is to make us heard to the governments and to the politics, and to make them forced to change their policies, where they have to observe exact secular values everywhere in the governance. So that's the broader idea. And apart from that, we have to ask for certain rights, and some of our rights are denied just because we are not belonging to a religion. When you come out of a religion, your existence is in question at times, especially when you are looking for a marriage. It is not easy for a non-religious person. Right now, that's the reality. But we are not saying that this will be the same always, and we are trying to change it. So you shouldn't be affected while you are trying to get married, or while you are trying to get your property rights, the inheritance. When you are going for your any other social aspects, like after your death, what happens? There are certain problems faced by even after the death. They won't leave us even when you die, because there is quarrels between the people whether he should be cremated or whether he should be buried. So that's the so we need to make it clear to the people that it's a personal choice and the personal freedom that's more important than the religious rules and regulations. And all these things should be thrown into the waste bin, where that's not what is required in this modern world. We need certain modern values which should be observed in every aspect of our life, especially in politics. Actually, I never felt like that I'm a minority, because before I used to feel that, because being a Muslim, I always felt that I'm a minority in this country, and that was the idea which went through my mind. But when right now, what I feel is that I'm the part of the country as a whole. I'm the part of this world, actually, where I belong to a race called humanity. That's the bigger picture. So I never felt that I'm a minority ever, because I feel empowered. I feel more freedom, and I feel that my rights are protected, and I feel that I have a lot of things to do, and there's no such inferiority or complex or any such things that is running right now. Things would be different if I were in UP. Even I would never ever be able to do this. First of all, let's forget about forming an organization. I would never ever be able to just say that I am an ex-Muslim. That's not possible as of now. That's what we are seeing. And that's another answer which I would like to give to those people who always say that we are forming this ex-Muslims organization And we are doing all these anti-Islam activities or all this criticism just because Modi is in power. This is one of the claims made by these right-wing activists. We never agree to that, because if that was the case, the best and the most powerful ex-Muslim organization should be in UP. Why is it not happening? That's not there. The center is right, and even the state government is right. But still, you don't see an ex-Muslim organization in UP. You would never see that in Gujarat, because that's not the way. And some other people also come and say that you are doing this because here you have the communists in power. So why you are not seeing such an organization in West Bengal? Because they were in power for more than 50 years. You never saw that in West Bengal. You never see that in Tripura or in any other state where the left parties were in power. You never saw that. But if you look at the picture of Kerala, you can see that these kind of ex-Muslim activities, though was not named as ex-Muslim activity, it was named as a rationalist activity, and it was done by people like E.A. Jabbar, then Abdul Ali Master, then Jamida, then many other people in the past. They have done it, and it's almost 40 plus years that they were doing it, and we are just taking the baton and we are just running forward. We never did anything new or anything special to accomplish all these things. We were just carrying it forward. If you look at other states, especially like states like UP or any other place, you never see that such a long-term movement ever happened. Okay, and there's no wonder that someone might say that this is only the ex-Muslim activity or the criticism of Islam that is happening here. No, that's wrong. Because one of the main activities done by these rationalists in Kerala was debunking the Shabarimala miracles. It was believed to be something divine. Okay, it come from some heaven, and it was something supernatural that was happening there. That was the claim, and that was the belief of the people for centuries. But now we all know that that's being lit by some people who go there just for this ceremony, and they light it and come back. That's it. There's nothing divine in it. So that was one of the main activities, or one of the main challenges they had taken back in 1960s or those days, that they were even beaten so badly for doing this. These rationalists, they were treated so badly because they were questioning the authority of the religion. They were questioning the divinity of the religion. That was a crime during those times. But today, you know that it's not happening anymore, because anybody can tell anything about all these belief systems, including Islam. That's what we are saying. Until then, until a period before, what we were saying that we were seeing was that you can criticize any religion except Islam. That was the situation. But now you can criticize any religion, including Islam. That's what has happened today. But if you go back to other states, you are not going to see that you can criticize any religion. You can ever criticize any of the religion, and you can never criticize Islam too. That's what is going on there. But slowly things are changing in particularly in the metro cities, where people are more into these kind of rationalist activities and the scientific temper, and people are changing. So we need to note this word, polarization, communal polarization. So when you look at that, to get polarized, you need a magnet. So what is acting here as the magnet? Just think about it. The Hindu, the right-wing politics was here, even from the day of formation of the Sangha Parivar. They were here, right? Every other religions were there, but still there was no such movements against these rationalists or these atheist movements in the past, that the way we are seeing today. So what caused this polarization? What is the tool? I would say that is Islam. I will tell you how it happened. Because until the end of 80s or 90s, the beginning of 90s, Islam was just like any other Indian religion, Indian version of Islam that was being followed here, right? But after the Gulf boom and people started going outside and they were more exposed to the real Islam that was practicing in the Middle East, especially from Kerala, you can see that people started slowly transforming. Their normal Indian culture-linked Islamic beliefs started transforming into a Puritan form of Islam. They were the beginning of importing the Wahhabi or the Salafi Islam into our country, especially the people like Zakir Naik, the people like, if you come to Kerala, we have Ambar. You know that Jamaat Islami is present in our country from time immemorial. You know that. But when you look at the way Jamaat Islami or that political Islam, Islamic party is present in our country, though it was formed in India before the partition, and after partition, one faction went to Pakistan, and some went to Bangladesh, and some remained in India, right? But if you look at the way this Jamaat Islami is functioning today, there is a huge difference between the Jamaat Islami of Pakistan and in Bangladesh and in India. Because, you take one example, homophobia. There is a strong call for homophobia, that people are always promoting homophobia, and they are for it because they call it homosexuality is a crime, being a transgender is a mental disease. So that's the kind of narrative that is going on there, and homophobia is so rampant in Pakistan. And that's the same thing which you can see in Bangladesh. And in both these places, you can see that Jamaat Islami is against homosexuality. Okay. But when you come to India, you can see here that homosexuality is not a crime for Jamaat Islami. They are for the transgender people. They are not against homosexual people. They are always trying to align with them. Especially in Kerala, you can see that these Jamaat Islami people conducting meetings for the transgenders. That's what we are seeing here. So why they transform? Why they are taking such an attitude? Because to survive in India, it was necessary. Because India is a democratic, secular country where you have to cover up all your barbaric laws, especially which is anti-human. So they were forced to do it. But after a short period of time where this Gulf boom and all such transformations were happening, the moment they gained a little bit stronghold in the minds of the people, especially in a situation where the people were capable of understanding the strong rules of religion of Islam, and they were themselves ready to observe this religion, they started throwing away ways of living where they were always trying to amalgamate with the common people around. Like they always took part in the celebrations of other people, like Onam or any other Christmas or whatever be the celebration of other people. But when you look at the way the people are seeing today, they are taking all these celebrations. You can see Zakir Naik coming and saying, you should never celebrate Christmas, it's haram. Okay. Some clerics from Kerala, they are coming and saying, you should never celebrate Onam, that is haram. Okay. So, and for that, they are taking out the scriptures and they are giving it to the people, and they are not questioning it. They are taking it and they are observing it and they are practicing it. So those people who are celebrating Christmas or Onam this year, they are not doing it from next year, because they are going along with that extremist teachings. But we cannot call it extremist. That is the Islamic teaching. Okay, that's nothing extremism in it. It's the real Islam. But so what I'm trying to say is that when into a pool of people where there was no such polarization happening, an intruder came in the form of Islam. They started putting Islam or the religion first and assessing things through the eyes of religion, and started observing and started giving away fatwas, and they started taking everything through the eyes of religion. Slowly, people started learning that, okay, religion has to be looked for in everything and in everywhere. So that's how the right-wing people got agitated and they came up, and now they are seeing that Muslims are the enemies of them, and the Islamists are seeing that the right-wing politics, those people are the enemies. So now they are seeing each other as the opposite poles. Islam was one of the main reasons, or the major reason which began or which initiated all these polarization activities. You can look at the other areas where Hindus are in majority. You cannot always say that where the Hindus are in majority, there will be right-wing politics. You cannot say that, because, you know, in Nepal, you won't see RSS there functioning. There's no Sangha Parivar in Nepal. Why is it so? because in that place, Islam is never a threat for them. The Salafi or Wahhabi Islam has never reached there in a manner that we have seen here. There is no Zakir Naik in Nepal, I would say. That's the simple answer. It's for us that we say that they are going backwards, okay? But for them, it's not going backward. For them, it is something like they are purifying themselves. They are improving their religious practice. They are going more and more closer to the God Almighty by observing the rules and regulations more strictly. That's what they are doing, and they are, in a way, they are perfectionists. Okay, they are perfecting each and every aspects of their belief system. That's what they are doing. But for us, we might say that okay, they are going backward, but actually they are not seeing it that in that manner. One of the main goals of NRC or being an ex-Muslim or being a free thinker or into these rationalist movements, one of the main aim of our activities is that we are aiming for a truly secular country or a truly secular world where secularism has to be observed in every aspect of our life, whether it be in the schools, whether it be in the hospitals, whether it be in the politics, or wherever it be, in the financial institutions, or even in the food market or in the restaurants. You have to be secular. There's no point in showcasing that your restaurant is something which is aligning with that belief or this belief, whichever be the belief. So writing pure vegetarian has to be discouraged. The same way, when we say that you have to discourage halal boards in a restaurant, because what is implied by this halal? Okay, when you say that something is halal, it doesn't mean that it's good. In this modern world, we have certain mechanisms or certain rules and regulations which can ensure the quality of food. It doesn't require a halal certification for ensuring the quality. So basically, what you mean by halal is that food, especially when it's concerning the meat products, when it's said that it's halal, that means it's being slaughtered in an Islamic manner, done by a Muslim or a Jew or a Christian, and it's aligning with the religious practice. That's what you mean by halal. It's not about just being good. Even if the food is good, if it is not slaughtered by a Muslim or a Jew or a Christian, it's not halal. So it's not the goodness or it's not the quality of the food item that makes it halal. It's the religious practice behind it. So the same way, if you are considering these things as something related to religion, you have to keep away all such religious connotations in all these areas of existence of our social life, that is financial institutions, restaurants, or the schools, or whatever be it. So when you come to school, one of the main aims of our activity is to put forward a schooling system where there is no place for religion. So if you are taking admission to our school, you have to, it is imperative upon you that you can never ever claim that you should get a place in our school for your midday prayer. You cannot ask here. If you want to pray for your midday, you choose another school. That's what we would say. If you want a place for your prayer of any other religion, if you want a cross to be placed somewhere in the compound, or if you want a Shivalinga or something related to be placed in the compound for your prayers just before going for an exam, that's not permitted. If you want a uniform to be observed in this campus, there is a unisex uniform which should be worn by both any gender, whether it be male, female, or transgender. They will be wearing the same uniform. There is no segregation on the basis of gender, on the basis of nationality or race or religion or caste or anything. That's not going to be permitted. That should be the real observation or something ideal that we are aiming for. But to reach there, it's not easy, because we are in a infantile stage now, and it's not easy for us to do all these things in a go. to expose yourself as an ex-Muslim in Kerala is far safer than outside Kerala. So that's the main reason why you are not seeing our photos getting blurred out on our website. So we are now we have the liberty, or we have the luxury of doing this, and we are doing it so that if some other people in other parts of our country, if they are taking us as an encouragement, and if they could do it, and slowly it gets spread to other parts of the country, slowly after maybe 5 or 10 years, the ex-Muslims of India website too will see some of the pictures which are not blurred out. So right now they are facing some issues, especially the kind of issues it's in a way that you'll be getting ostracized in your personal life, in your social life, and everywhere. You will be denied of your marital rights. You will be denied of your property rights. You will be denied of your many other things in the life, and even just because that we are living in India, that you are not killed just because of this renouncing this religion. But if you were in Pakistan, or if you were in any of these Arab countries like Saudi Arabia, where apostatizing is a crime and the punishment for it is death penalty. So being in India, you are not sentenced to that punishment. So we are safe here. But even inside India, it's not safe everywhere. Very recently, we saw a group from Tamil Nadu. It's like ex-Muslims of Tamil Nadu. And I was really surprised to see that, because that was not seen a few months back. Okay, so now they have come up with that. Now we will see ex-Muslims of Karnataka, and we will see ex-Muslims of Uttar Pradesh as well. Farooq was hacked to death in 2017. And at that time, the situation in Tamil Nadu was very different from what we see today. Okay, now there's a little bit more a receptive people in Tamil Nadu, where they are able to handle the criticism against Islam in a little bit improved manner, where they have stopped killing people, but now they have started going to the police station and complaining. That's a good change that we are seeing. So, and finally, from maybe in next couple of months, they will even stop doing that as well, as we are seeing here in Kerala. Nobody gives a court complaint or a police complaint right now. Nobody is questioning us. So that's the kind of change that we are expecting. So from hacking to death, to chopping off the limbs, to giving complaints and doing nothing. That's what we saw in Kerala. You might have known about this Professor Joseph's incident in Kerala. He wrote some question paper, and his hands and legs were chopped off from opposite sides. So that was an incident which happened. Professor T.J. Joseph. So that happened in Kerala in 2011. And even before that, we had seen some people getting killed of speaking against Islam. And even before that, people were constantly attacked when giving away these speeches. Even the Jabbar Marsh, or some people like that, especially Jabbar Marsh, he has faced such atrocities against him. He has lost the sense of his right or left ear, one of the sides. So that was happening after getting injured while speaking in a public event, where somebody from the audience was coming up and beating him with the chair. So that happened. But now it has changed to a greater extent, and it's mainly because of the social media and the exposure which we are getting due to this social media, and all such combined activities. It is giving the kind of insulation for us. And I think this will happen in any other parts as well. Even in Tamil Nadu, that can happen. Though it is a personal issue, I had to voice it out just because it was one of the instances where the rules in the religion meddles with our personal life. So I have to expose it at any cost, and I didn't ever felt embarrassed to say it, or I didn't felt like hiding it out just for my personal sake. The problem is that when two people are in a wedded relationship in Islam, and if one among them loses the faith and he or she apostatizes, then what happens is that wedding relationship is getting invalid on the spot. The moment you say that you are no more a believer, you no more believe in Allah and His Messenger, your marriage itself is invalid, getting invalid. There's no need of any triple talak, or there's no need of any court cases or anything. It is an invalidation on the spot. That's how quick and fast is the rules in Islam. So, and after that, what happens is that if you again chose to be in that relationship, that is a haram. To be in a relationship where one of the partners is not a believer, because that's counted as adultery as per Islamic law, and it is a haram. So in that case, what happens is that though my partner, my wife was a believer, she was a little bit modern and all, but still there will be always a pressure on her from the family members, and especially the ummah, we call the brotherhood, the Islamic brotherhood, we call it. So they will always try to impose these laws. So there was always a pressure on her to not to be in a relationship with me, and that was the reason why she was forced to stay away from me, and she had to openly say that, or her family members had to openly say me that you should never come to our home anymore. So that was what happened with me. So, and they were trying to say me that you are no more a believer, and if you ever want to return back to this home to meet her, to meet your kids, you have to be a believer. So that was their dictum given to me, and I never agreed to that, and I started visiting them afterwards. And it's like I bang into their home and I just visit them. That's what I do right now. I never wait for their approval to visit my kids, because that's my right to visit my kids. They cannot never deny it, especially in this country where if ever they take this matter into the court, they will be in trouble. I know that. So I do this right now. So the picture is, you have two rules in front of you. One is the rule of the land, which is based on the modern values, the rules the Indian constitution or the Indian legal system is putting forward. One is that the Indian law, and the second one is the religious law. So when a matter comes in front of you, you have to choose between these two, whether to take up the religious law or to take up the rule of the land where you are living. So for a modern citizen, what we are expected is to go with the modern law system or the legal system, okay, the constitutional rights and all such things. But when it comes to a believer, especially from an Islamic background, he or she or whoever it be, they will always go with the religious rules. So that's how the religion teaches you. Like, if you are in a situation where you have to choose between these two, you will have to always go with the religious law, because the ultimate success is not here, it's in the hereafter. You have to obey the religious laws, and that's the only way by which you can attain this eternal success. All other success is temporary, and that will take you to the hellfire. That's how the religion teaches you. So this fear or this kind of indoctrination from childhood will make any believer to go with the religion, the religious laws. That's the same thing which happened to my wife and her family. I know that. So I'm empathizing with them, because I know that how they are feeling. Because, just like we were discussing about the halal food, it's not about the quality. Okay. She knows that I was a good man and a good husband, and whoever it be, just the day before. Okay. And one fine morning, she knew that, or her family came to know that I'm a murtad or a kafir or an apostate. Okay. And from that day onwards, I'm a bad person. So it's a black and white demarcation. So on Monday, I'm a good person. On Tuesday, I'm a bad person. There are different things under that, and one of the main things in it is the property rights. Okay, in Islam, the property rights is a very funny matter, and it's a inhuman and misogynistic manner that is these property rights are handled in Islam. So when there are a lot of controversies, especially with regards to the rights of the women when they are inheriting the properties. So it's like half of what a man would get is what is inherited to a woman. So that's the basic understanding which you can take home. So it's a basic a division between man and woman, that two women, a man is equal to two women. That's how Islam observes. Islam clearly states that the intelligence of woman is half of that a man has. Islam clearly states that a woman's witness, for giving a witness, there should be two women. But at the same time, for giving a witness, a single man can do it. So again, man is equal to two women. That's how Islam observes. So that's the basic understanding of how this misogyny is existing in Islam. So when it comes to this uniform civil code, there are a lot of, even my own friends, a lot of them are waiting for that to get legislated and implemented in this country, because they are denied of their property their fathers and their parents have earned, which is not coming to them. Instead, that will be going to someone else in the family, just because to that parent, she will be the only child. There's no boy child in the family. So to come out of all these inhuman and misogynistic rules, the only way is to implement the Uniform Civil Code. So I'm for it, there's no doubt. I never read all these Sapiens or these works of Richard Dawkins or anything before I was into this. All this happened along with my first marriage and its divorce, where I had written about this in an article also. Because, you know, until then I was of the conviction that whatever things I'm doing is right. Okay, I never did anything wrong. That was the kind of understanding or conviction that I was carrying forward while I went through this first divorce. But afterwards, after I was contemplating over the decision, so at that time I was getting a hint that there's something wrong with this, because actually I was using all the privileges as a man I was having against my partner that time. And apart from that, being a Muslim man gives me some extra power. Like I can beat my wife. Okay. There are some other things like which I can do as a man in Islam. So I was slowly realizing that I was using all these things, which basically considers woman as inferior to man. So this misogyny that was coming into my mind, and I was looking more into such aspects in Quran, whether I was right or wrong. Okay, the decision which I took solely based on the patriarchal and the Islamic rules, which was favoring the man. So I was contemplating over that, and I could realize that I did wrong. So I was going again behind these scriptures, and I could see not only misogyny, but many other inhuman verses, and verses that divides people on the basis of color, on the basis of their freedom, like slaves. The slavery system in Islam is halal even today, or it is permissible even today. So slavery was getting banned not because of the Islam. So what we were taught in our madrasas or in other religious discourses was that slavery was put to an end using the teachings of Islam. That was we were taught in our madrasas. But I could see something exactly opposite, or something which is Islam is actually promoting slavery. That is what we could see in the scriptures. And later on, I started digging more into this, like how this slavery existed in the history. And one of the main epiphany that I got was that though there were a lot of slavery systems around the world, and most of them survived not more than 3 or 4 centuries. The slavery under the Islamic rule, under the Arab rule, that lasted for more than 13 or 14 centuries. The Middle East, the medieval period, the Arab countries were the hub of slave trade. Okay, and even today, when you look at the way this slavery abolition and the rules relating to that, you can see that after the Declaration of Universal Human Rights, the Islamic countries were against that. And they were telling that slavery is something which is allowed to us, we cannot ban it. So they came up with some other, an alternative, a parody human rights declaration, which is called as the Cairo Declaration. And it was in Egypt that was done. And as per that, they were almost favoring a lot of things in line with the religion. So like that, and even into the late 1960s, you can see that the Saudi Arabia was having these slave markets in their cities. Okay, so that's how slave system existed in Islamic world. And the last country to abolish slavery was Mauritania, and it happened in 2007. Just imagine, in this 21st century, we were talking about slavery. And the reason why they were carrying it out, or why they were observing this, or they were doing all these things, is just because the religion permitted them. So for me to leave religion was the trigger, my first instance of divorce. And afterwards, I could learn more about the misogyny and the slavery in Islam, and I could see that I was thinking how a God can make his own creatures as free and slave men or women. How come a God do this? Yeah, I'm not saying that this is only mentioned in Islam. I'm not saying that. It's mentioned in Manusmriti, it's mentioned in many other religions, it's mentioned in Old Testament, New Testament, wherever you could see that anywhere. But the problem is, even in this 21st century, which religion promotes it and which religion observe it as irrefutable, and if it has the only right model? That's the only problem with the Islam, because Islam is the only religion which makes such a claim. That's the reason why we are opposing it. I'm expecting that we will transform. Being an Indian and being an atheist or a free thinker right now, we will be increasing in number in the future, just because it's easy for us to get the data, get the evidence, and to get informed, to stay informed regarding all these things, and to get rid of these stigmas and dogmas. Okay, so it's easy for us. And at that point of time, coming out of any religion will be easy. And when we talk about this ex-Muslim movement, we are, as I said earlier, becoming an ex-Muslim is important, or it's talked about, just because coming out of Islam is pretty difficult right now. That's the reason why we are forced to talk about it. But when a time comes where that's no more a matter, and anyone can just go in and come out of Islam as well, just like any other religion, this won't be a talk anymore. This won't be a hot topic for discussion anymore. And at that point of time, ex-Muslim organization itself will be dissolved. We have never envisioned such a thing, that the ex-Muslim movement has to survive for decades. We have never thought of it. Our aim is to dissolve this organization as early as possible. That's what we are thinking of. So if the Islamic population right now, they decide to stop all these atrocities, and they let all the believers who decides to apostatize, they won't be interfered with regards to their property rights or their marital relationship or any other aspects of their personal or social life. Being an ex-Muslim or leaving Islam won't be a talk of the town. That will be as normal as leaving any other religion. So we are aiming for such a world, or such a time where we can go out of religion without making any noise. Rationalism, it has traveled a long way since I have seen it, and I started learning about how this rationalism grew up in India and how it was existing in India. But being an ex-Muslim and a rationalist, what I have to say is that we need to be a part of the community. We cannot claim ourselves as rationalists and stay away from the people. So we have to be with the people. and we have to do things for them, and we have to get ourselves a part of the existing politics. Okay, so that's the only way by which if we really do all these things for the betterment of our existence and for the coming generations, we need to we need to be political in such aspects where we have to come forward. And while doing it, we should show the courage to criticize each and everything that comes in front of us if it is creating a problem. What I have seen here is that people are ready to criticize anything except some things like Islam, some things like communism. Okay, so at that point, they go a little bit soft against these things, and actually, that is creating more danger or more damage than what is expected. So, if we are against the existing politics, which is deteriorating the secular fabric of our country, and if you really wish to, you need to come out of that, and you wish to make it better, you have to do the right thing, whether it be criticizing Islam or whether it be criticizing the communism or whether it be criticizing Sangha Parivar. You need not hesitate while doing it. Then only people will see that the integrity in being a rationalist and being using the rationale of doing things and trying to better our lives for ourselves and for the future. So that's what I am trying to do, or I always wish others do. But it's very difficult, I know, because to convey things and to teach things is easy. But to put things into practice, and especially when it comes to politics, it's not that easy. So we have to even try for that. That's what I will give us a message.